book haul, y'all. This is my brand new book bag. Literally my book bag. I went to V.C.writes yesterday, and I also ordered books from thrift books. I love supporting thrift books, besides also going to local bookstores. And oh my goodness, this sun is in my face. Okay, hopefully that did not destroy the video lighting. But I was by Books-A-Million yesterday with my daughter, and so we went there. They were having a book sale. Did not buy any of the books that were on sale, but that's okay. So let's see, what did I get? So of course I had to buy a book for my son. He's really into Demon Slayer, and because he's watching the anime right now, he does not want to read any in-world or like in-story books because he doesn't want the ending to be, he doesn't want to know what happens at the end because he's watching the anime. And we did go see the movie. Amazing. We really like that movie. I just love Demon Slayer as well. I love Tanjiro. I love his character. I wish I could be Tanjiro. But anyway, so he doesn't want it to be spoiled, so I did buy him a book. And I'm going to butcher this name. I call him the Snake Guy because right now he is my least favorite Hashira. Maybe my second.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Least favorite Hashira. But I kind of grew on him a little bit more after watching Infinity Castle, Kimitsu no Yaba. So I got him that one. And a couple of things for my daughter. This was her choice, and this was a bargain book. I guess that's okay to keep that on there. She loves everything Tom Hiddleston, and she loves Loki, so she picked that one out. I picked this one out for her, Stephen King, Cujo. So I've read this book a couple of times. I have a very complicated emotional relationship with Stephen King and some of the things that he writes in his books. However, I do still read some of his books, and this one is really good. I had, and still do in some ways, a fear of dogs. And it wasn't until I got my own Great Pyrenees that I lost that fear, mostly. So I can so before, if I just saw a dog across the street in their yard, I would get really afraid. And it stems from something that happened when I was a child. But reading this book really brought that fear back out again. But it's a good one. It's a good one. And okay, so now we're going to get into my books. This one I am super excited about reading. This one is called The Surviving Sky. And I love floating cities. And if I can add a floating city into my world building, I will, if I can make it work. But this one does include a floating city. And it is, basically they live above the earth. There are the architects because they're rebuilding. It seems like they're rebuilding. I have not read it yet. And it's about a married couple whose relationship is tenuous at best. And if you know anything about me, I love a troubled married storyline. So I am looking forward to reading that one. Now let's see what we got from thrift books. Despite my complicated relationship with Stephen King's writings. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, so this one is not Stephen King. Love it. Okay, so this one I'm so happy. This is the first one I opened. Okay, this is The Frozen River. I have not read this book, and I actually won this edition of the book from Jolena Peterstein. She, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to edit this out. Menopause brain fog is so real. Okay, she wrote How the Light Gets In. Very cool story, very cool twist. She wrote The Alliance and the Divide. Now, The Alliance and Divide are science fiction, post-apocalyptic, and it takes place in a Mennonite society. And if it's not exactly Mennonite society, it is a society very similar to that. And what happens as an EMP, it goes off over America. Very, very cool. Love the love story. I met her actually at Parnassus in Nashville. It's very close to where I live. And at the time, I was in my own rocky marriage. And I had stopped writing for a long time. And I went to go get my book signed by her. And I asked a question, but at least to me, it didn't seem revealing. I think I asked something like, how do you schedule yourself? Because she has children. She writes, she's a full-time writer. She has children, stay-at-home mom, and she lives on a farm. So I'm like, how do you schedule yourself, for writing? And I thought it was a very benign question. And when I went to go get my book signed, she said to me, oh my gosh, I'm going to tear up. I'm sorry. She said to me, how long have you been a writer? And it was so touching because she pegged me for a writer. I haven't been published, but she saw that in me. And she's just such a lovely human being. I follow her blog and her Facebook. But anyway, she had a contest on her page and you had to put in your favorite book. And then she would randomly pick someone, and I chose Navigator's Children by Tad Williams. And I have so many books that I love, but right now that is my favorite one right now. And because it's the ending of his series, which I really need to do. I will do a book review on those. They're amazing. Anyway, so I won this book from her, and it's called The Frozen River by Ariel Lawhon, and it was a New York Times bestseller. And the book is about a midwife, I believe. So I am very, very excited. In my personal life, midwifery, doula work, working with children and families is very close to my heart. So I'm looking forward to reading that book. And oh my gosh, I have a letter. What? Okay, I don't know if I'm going to read it on the thing. Oh. And she remembers me. She says, I hope you enjoy the story. Best wishes on your own words. Love, Jolena. That's really sweet. That's really sweet. Yeah. That's very special to me. And she is one of my favorite authors. Not even necessarily for her books, although I do love her books, just because of her as a person. So, yay. Okay. So we got that one out. Now on to my thrift books selections. All right. Now back to what I was saying about my complicated relationship with Stephen King. I have read several books related to the Dark Tower and the Territories. I have never read the Dark Tower series, and so I thought, let me go ahead and read it. I did start Eyes of the Dragon at one point, and I don't know if it's this one, but what I remember about it is I picked it up because I thought, oh, this is going to be a fantasy novel, which is really cool. And as I was reading it, for some reason I thought that it was being told from the perspective of a young child, and I didn't like how adult the child was coming off. And as a mother, as a person that works with young children and advocates for young children, I do not like it when people adult size, I don't know if that's the right word, so infantilize adult women or men and vice versa. I don't like when they make little children look like they are little grown-ups, because that really blurs the line in the minds of some people who are disturbed as to what they can do with children. And that's all I will say about that. And it just kind of gave me the ick when I was reading it. So I'm going to give it another chance. If it gives me the ick, I will put it down. I used to be one that did not DNF books, but I will. I'm too old. I've got too much to do to sit there and read something that makes me feel uncomfortable. And that's not a judgment on anyone. I've read plenty of books that other people would find uncomfortable. So, it's just a personal preference of mine. So this is what I have. The Dark Half is what I was recommended. The Eyes of the Dragon. And then this one I have not read, but a friend of mine recommended it to me, was Salem's Lot. And so I'm going to read that, and that'll be very interesting. Oh, this is fun. Thank you for your order, Lily. That's cute. So yeah, and they are getting ready to get rid of the mass paperbacks like these. So I have so many of them because when I was younger, that's what I could afford, the $5, $6, $7 mass produced paperbacks. And so that's what I bought. And now I do, because mostly the books come in the larger size, and which makes it better for printing. The binding is better. They last longer. Like, you can see these get all messed up after maybe by the time you finish reading the book. So, it's cool that they're doing that for the quality of the book itself, which kind of shows a reverence for the book binding process and for the history of the physical product of a book. But it is sad to see these go, because it is very nostalgic to pick up a book in this size, a book from an author that you really love and you can afford it. So, yeah. So they'll be doing that. So these are going to go back in my book bag. And of course, I will give my children their books. And that, I think, is all for this video. So this is my book haul, and this is my book bag. So I love this bag. I got it at Five Below. Not sponsored. I love Five Below sometimes. And I know I don't know. There might be some issues with that for some people's. But for me, you can go in there and get some really cute things. So this bag was in there. I love the aesthetic. Blue is my favorite color. This kind of whimsical floreate, I don't know if that's the right word, kind of French, kind of throwback artistry. It kind of reminds me of gingham print, even though it's not gingham. I just love it. So that's it for today. I will be having a review for you within a couple of weeks of this book right here. It is very, very good. And I cannot wait to share my review and my thoughts with you on that. So until then, have a great day. This is V.C. Writes, Victoria Camden, and I will see you next time.